In the summer of 1953, the guns finally fell silent. An armistice was signed, ending 3 long, brutal years of war that had ripped the Korean peninsula apart. At the heart of this scarred land lay its capital, Seoul. Once a vibrant cultural and political center, Seoul had become almost unrecognizable. The city had changed hands 4 times during the conflict, and with every occupation came new waves of destruction. By the war's end, over 80% of Seoul's industrial facilities, homes, and infrastructure were reduced to ash and rubble. Bridges lay collapsed across the Han River. Schools and hospitals were nothing but hollow shells. The skyline, once marked by pagodas and bustling markets, was now dominated by smoke, dust, and silence. Electricity was scarce. Running water was a luxury. Even food was difficult to find. The city's population, once over 1 million, was displaced, becoming refugees in their own homeland. It was not just a capital destroyed, it was a symbol of a nation on the edge of collapse. South Korea's per capita GDP was among the lowest in the world. International observers wrote the country off as a hopeless case, a war-torn, resource-poor land, destined to remain dependent on foreign aid. But beneath the dust and despair, something was stirring. A collective determination, quiet but unyielding, was taking root. The challenge was immense. Not just to rebuild, but to survive. The first years after the war were about the basis food, shelter, and stability. Millions of South Koreans took part in rebuilding efforts, often with their bare hands. People who once farmed now became construction workers. Students helped clear debris. Mothers cooked for laborers, rebuilding roads and bridges. The United States and the United Nations provided crucial aid, but the real work was powered by the will of ordinary citizens. Every new road, every bridge restored, every flicker of light that came back on in Seoul's dark skyline symbolized hope. Seoul, a city that had been reduced to ashes, was slowly being reborn. But it was only the beginning. In the 1960s, a bold, transformative vision emerged. Under the leadership of President Park Chung-hee, South Korea launched an economic revolution, a radical plan to turn an impoverished agrarian nation into an industrial powerhouse. The government introduced 5-year economic development plans. Detailed roadmaps focused on rapid industrialization and export-led growth. South Korea had no oil, no gas, no vast farmlands. So it invested in its greatest resource, its people. The government emphasized discipline, education, and every citizen was urged to see themselves as a builder of the nation's future. Park's strategy was precise. Focus on key industries: steel, shipbuilding, textiles, and machinery, and drive them forward through coordinated state support. To execute this, the government forged powerful alliances with emerging family-owned conglomerates. The chaebols, companies like Samsung, Hyundai, and LG, in exchange for financial support, these corporations were expected to meet ambitious export targets. Success meant more backing. Failure meant being cut off. It was a system built on pressure and performance, and it worked. Soon, the sound of progress echoed across Seoul. Factories rumbled day and night, producing textiles, steel, and electronics for global markets. Ships built in Busan began crossing oceans, carrying Korean goods to new markets in Asia, Europe, and America. The Han River, once silent, now reflected the glow of cranes and smokestacks. In the capital, workers flooded in from rural villages. They filled dormitories, shared small meals, and worked grueling shifts, all driven by the belief that their labor was part of something larger than themselves. The transformation was staggering. From 1962 to 1979, South Korea's GDP grew by an average of nearly 9% per year, one of the fastest in the world, and at the center of it all, Seoul rose like a phoenix, a living monument to what collective determination could achieve. But this miracle did not come without sacrifice. The long hours, the suppressed protests, the authoritarian rule that often silenced opposition. The streets of Seoul occasionally filled with demonstrations as students and workers demanded democracy and fair wages. Many were met with tear gas and resistance. Yet, even in these struggles, a stronger nation was forming. One that would eventually fight not just for prosperity, but for freedom. The people's belief in the national project never disappeared. They endured because they saw the results. Paved highways, new schools, rising skyscrapers, and the steady improvement of daily life. By the end of the 1970s, the narrative of poverty was being replaced by one of pride. As the world entered the information age, South Korea once again pivoted, this time toward technology. The government poured money into research and development, encouraging chaebols to innovate beyond heavy industry. Samsung began investing in semiconductors and electronics. LG entered the consumer tech space. Hyundai expanded from shipbuilding into automobiles and global construction. This shift from industrial production to technological innovation marked the next stage of the miracle on the Han River. And again, Seoul led the charge. The city's skyline filled with corporate headquarters, R&D centers, and universities that produced the engineers and scientists fueling this new era. The Seoul Metropolitan Subway opened in 1974, expanded rapidly through the 80s and 90s, connecting districts and driving urban development. And south of the Han River, a once-ruled district called Gangnam transformed into the symbol of modern Korean Sesesa, glittering center of finance, fashion, and entertainment. The contrast between Seoul in 1953 and Seoul in 1993 was nothing short of astonishing. But Seoul's rebirth wasn't only economic, it was cultural. In the 1990s, as democracy took deeper roots, creativity flourished. The Korean government began supporting media, film, and music as new export industries. This marked the beginning of the Korean Wave, or Hallyu, a cultural phenomenon that would soon sweep across Asia and eventually the world. Television dramas, groundbreaking films, and the emerging sound of K-pop introduced global audiences to a new side of Korea, stylish, emotional, and unapologetically modern. Seoul became the creative heartbeat of this movement. Neighborhoods like Hongdae and Itaewon buzzed with music, art, and fashion. Young Koreans embraced their heritage while reimagining it for a global stage. What began as a war-torn city of refugees had now become one of the most vibrant cultural capitals on Earth. Today, Seoul stands tall, literally and figuratively. Its skyline gleams with glass towers, like the Lot World Tower, one of the tallest buildings in the world. Its digital infrastructure is unparalleled, with the fastest internet speeds on the planet and a society seamlessly connected through technology. Public transportation is the subway system stretches for hundreds of kilometers, spotless, efficient, and affordable. Urban renewal projects, like the Cheonggyecheon Stream restoration, turned polluted highways into peaceful urban parks, reconnecting nature with city life. But perhaps most remarkable is how Seoul manages to preserve its soul amidst all the modernity. Just a short walk from towering skyscrapers, you can still find ancient temples, quiet Hanic villages, and traditional markets buzzing with life. The old and new coexist, side by side, a testament to the balance Korea has achieved between progress and tradition. Seoul's journey is more than an urban success story. It's a story about the human spirit, the belief that no nation, no matter how broken, is beyond redemption. From the ashes of war, through decades of hardship, protest, and perseverance, Seoul rose, not just rebuilt, but It stands today not only as South Korea's capital, but as a symbol of resilience, innovation, and hope. A reminder that progress is never handed down. It is built, brick by brick, by the hands of those who refuse to give up. From ruins to riches, from despair to dreams, this is the miracle on the Han River. Thank you for watching. If you found Seoul's incredible transformation inspiring, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into cities and nations that changed the course of history.